All right, good evening. Going to wait around who all comes in. I'll get started up here in just a few moments. And those of you that don't get to watch the live can, of course, see it when I post it. And you'll get to hear the reasons, okay, that I am live. And this may take a while. So I've got one viewer in now. Of course, there could be some more out there. I'm going to go ahead and get started. And I may repeat myself until I get all of these points across. I want to welcome you to this live. My name's Keith Alton Gambill, and many of you know me, and some of you don't. I'm going to tell you the purpose of this live for tonight. The purpose of this live is out of concern over the Tina Turner statute, and I'm giving my perspective. The main purpose of this live is not really for discussion. Okay, it's not really for discussion. You're welcome to drop a comment. I'm going to get to that. I will be deleting comments later. I will be deleting comments later that are totally negative. Listen to me carefully. I will be deleting comments later because I'm not privy to the phone live, and I'm not going to be fooling with my finger a lot, okay? I will be deleting comments later that are totally negative. You know, some things are the way you state things. You can say, I noticed this was great, but I think this could be better, instead of just saying a profanity or downgrading something. Okay, so I will be deleting comments later that are totally negative. Hello, Daryl, Beverly. I can't see everybody. It's no need to tell me what you disagree with. Okay, there's really no need. You can put that there if you want to. There's really no need to tell me what you disagree with, as this is simply to give my take, which I can promise you you've not heard. I have read thousands of comments from various places and heard things ringing in my ears since Saturday. Most of it negative, not all of it. This is not a negative post, it's a positive post. All right, I'm going to go back. The purpose of this live video is to give my perspective about the Tina Turner statute. I will be deleting comments later that are totally negative. There's really no need to tell me what you disagree with, as this is simply to give my take. Hello, Sheila Hill. Hello, Don. Now, we'll start off 41 years. You say, what's that about? This is going to be a lengthy one, y'all. Okay? You can ask questions. You can ask questions. Okay, I'm going to be in charge if I answer them or not. Okay? Because this is positive. Okay, you'll find out what it's all about. What you're going to hear tonight, you've not heard, because no one has the perspective that I've read about on any website, and I've read many different websites of comments, and I've not seen one person that gets even close to the perspective that I'm going to be telling you about tonight. And I'm also going to tell you how I got the perspective that I got. I need to write that down, the how I got the perspective. Let me write that down. How I got the perspective that you're going to hear tonight, that I promise you, you've not heard it from anybody that you read on any social media site. If you have, you're going to tell me. All right, 41 years my vision. I'm not going to sit up here and go through my whole 41 years of promoting Tina. It goes back to 1984. But I will say that in 41 years that I've been doing Tina, my vision that I had in 84 included a statute. In other words, I saw in my head that someday there would be a statute. I say that to let you know that I'm proud to have a statute. Okay? That's number one. I'm proud. All right? I want to commend everyone involved. I want to commend the mayor, Bill Rawls. I want to commend Sonia Outlaw Clark. I want to commend the sculptor, Mr. Fred, the Blue Oval, and countless other people that I have neglected to commend. I want to commend them on their effort, everyone that's involved. You're welcome to ask a question. I'll say that again. All right, next topic, opinions. Let's talk about opinions. You know, you ever had somebody look up in the sky and ask you, do you see Jesus up in the clouds? And you might say, yeah, I see Jesus. And they may say, no, I don't see him. Thank you, Don, for telling me that. Love you too and appreciate you. Um, Thank you so much. But if you look up in the sky, somebody might say, yeah, I see Jesus in the clouds. The next person may say, no, I don't see him. I say that because that's related into where I'm going. We don't always see the same thing in art. We don't always see the same perspective. I have read many comments, and I'm reading my notes, and most of them have been a lot of negative. I've read some positive, and I don't like the negative. Okay. Most of the concern is about, I've read about people saying, not me, about hair and face. Okay. The problem with some of that is it's not being stated in the form of suggestions. It's being stated as put downs and rude and detrimental to what the goal is of this whole project. Community support. Haywood County tourism. This is about tourism. Okay? People need to get behind tourism in Haywood County. They are making and have made an effort. They've made a grand effort. The Tina Turner Museum, the statue, Carver, Tina Turner Heritage Days. Okay? They're putting together a big, big picture of tourism. They're building. Why in this world would some people be overly critical of tourism efforts when Haywood County desperately needs and has and is thriving and is looking to build off of this for the sake of economics and for pride and for various other reasons? Community support. They're going to build a new plaza out there in the Heritage Park. They're going to build, it's going to be more that's going to be added. So we don't need all the put downs of everything. We need some positive comments and positive feelings. All right. I see y'all in here. I won't mention some of you. I don't know if you want to be mentioned or not, but thank you, Sheila. Daryl is in here. My finger's not good with this, y'all. Okay. Simone Butler, Miss Dana Bearden, Quacked Up, all of y'all, Don McFarland. Okay. I see y'all. Thank you. All right. Back to my notes. Negative comments that are out there hurts the town of Brownsville in their effort to promote tourism, whether we agree or disagree. The negative comments hurt the town's plea and cry to rally around Tina and tourism in the town. It needs to stop. Okay, some of it needs to stop or be stated a different way. Many, and I'm not trying to talk about you. Okay, I'm not talking about you. And some of you are going to drop off because you're going to miss the most important part later that you've never heard. Okay. Many have never been to Tina Turner Museum. Many have never even been to Tina Turner Museum, but they claim to want to make comments. And I'm not trying to talk about you, okay? I'm just being real. Many have not been to Tina Turner Heritage Days, right there in the city of Brownsville. But they seem to care so much about commenting about Tina and her statue and everything, and seem to be experts. Many have never been to see a Tina Turner concert. Many really don't know a lot about Tina Turner. They claim to, in my estimation. Okay? So the point is, the loudest ones seem to come out a lot, and they all seem to be in a negative frame of mind. Can't find anything positive. All right, let's talk about the next part. Benefit of doubt. benefit of doubt. Now, if you missed what's been said earlier, it's going to be up here. If you want to ask the question, you put it in the comments. Sandra Boyd, how you doing? Benefit of doubt. Black person, African American. That's the first black person in Haywood County to ever have a statue. That's big, very big. Okay, that's huge. People should be proud of that fact. You should be proud of that fact. If you've got suggestions, fine. But what you state needs to be stated in a way that I like this, I like that. I think this could be a little better, but I'm so glad that the community is on board with tourism, and I'm so proud to see Tina honored. Benefit of doubt means if I went to the event Saturday, and I could, and some of you didn't, and that's fine, and I'm not knocking you. But if you went to the event with a positive frame of mind, hello, you have never seen the statue. So you would have gone and said, give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to go. I'm going to watch the statue be unveiled, and I'm expecting a great item. Well, some people stayed at home. Thank you, Daryl Roper. Some people stayed at home, and I'm not knocking you. I'm not knocking you. Let me go on and say that. I'm being factual. Some people stayed at home because they can't wait to get on the internet. They can't wait to have this feeling inside of them. But I bet you that thing, I bet you that statue, you see where I'm going? And so instead of giving the town and the people that did it the benefit of the doubt and coming and trying to be supportive with your body and attendance and comments, which is very critical for the health economically and everything for Haywood County. Okay? What happened? Some people just stayed home and said, I can't wait to get on my keyboard as soon as they unveil it. I feel like they said that inside. Here I go typing. This is that. This is that. That is that. This is that. Never anything about what a great crowd, what a great day, what a beautiful day. What a great thing for a town to honor somebody. Okay? Benefit of the doubt. Where is your support? These are my notes. I've taken notes so I don't get venture too far off of what I wanted to say tonight. Where is your support? Where are your positive comments? Where are people positive about Tina Turner in Haywood County, okay, and around the area? And then I wrote down the loudest ones. You've heard that saying about the loudest ones. The loudest ones seem to be the ones that want to come out and have all the negative to say at the very end. They can't find anything positive to come up with. And I'm going to say this. I'm disappointed in some of all people being negative, extremely negative, and rudely so. But I'm very, very upset with some people in the African American community, not just there, but all over the world, that are putting down these efforts. All right, now I'll stop there before I go into my second topic, which is art. And then my last topic is my perspective. Let me go back to the beginning of this live and welcome. The purpose of this live was to give my Tina Turner statue perspective, which I haven't done yet. And I've told you that I promise you've not heard this perspective or read it. And if you have, you can tell me, but I guarantee you, no one has this perspective. And I'm going to tell you how I got it. I will be deleting comments later that are totally negative. Totally negative. No need to tell me what you disagree with. You can if you want to, as I've read them all, as this is simply to give my take. Okay? Let's move on and talk about art. I'm not an artist. I'm not an art, but I've done a little research on art. And I've done a little thinking about art, and I got some points I want to make about art for you to consider. Okay? Let me look at my notes. I didn't talk with the sculptor. I didn't get to interview with him, so I really don't have his mind. You know, I don't have his heart or his feel for everything that he did. I don't have that knowledge. I don't know his complete purpose. Okay, I do know something. I'll tell you in a minute. Art is subjective. What one loves, one doesn't love. Okay, art is abstract. Sometimes three-dimensional art, which emphasizes shapes, forms, rather than just traditional art. I'm going to say that again. Abstract art represents three-dimensional art all the way around, shapes, forms, rather than just non-traditional flat art. So we're dealing with some abstract art, subjective. We know everybody's going to have their little opinions. That's us. We're human. All right, let's talk about artist's point of view. Sculpting is not like a picture. Sculpting is not like a picture. It is molded, okay? And that can be difficult in some facets, I'm quite sure. I'm not an artist. You have to look at the overall importance of the art. The overall importance of that art, that statue, is to convey the image overall of Tina Turner. We'll get to that, which it does. It does. The statue as a whole, not as parts, but you look at the statue as a whole. All right? You go by it, that's not Diana Ross. That's not Whoopi Goldberg. That's not Taylor Swift. You can immediately recognize from the distance and even up closer that that is a one interpretation, one artist's perspective of Tina Turner. There are going to be millions of people that put out something, and not all of them are going to be the same. Okay? All right, let me get back to my notes. It's a landmark connected to. People feel connected. It's portraying feeling or message rather than purely realism. Uh-oh. You mean to tell me that statue is portraying a message, which I'm going to get to what I think it is, rather than realism? What's that mean? There's a message with the art rather than just looking at it and saying, let me look for what's real, what I remember about this person. Okay? Exactness could be many looks. When we look at a statue and we're looking for exactness, well, that could be many different looks of exactness. Your idea of what's exactly what the way it looked to you could be different than what somebody else's exactness looks like. And some of y'all stay with me because y'all gonna miss the very best part. All right, going over art. If you wanted exactness, just put up a picture. If you wanted complete exactness, go get a picture and laminate it and put it up there. If you wanted that, and then you're going to still have people disagreeing about which one. Okay? They're just going to still be disagreeing about which one. Reasons, not exact likeness. What am I talking about? The reasons a sculptor may put up something, not saying that he did, that's not exact likeness. Certain features are symbolic rather than literal. Certain features of the statue are symbolic rather than literal to convey intent. Highly realistic to abstract interpretation. So if you're looking for highly realistic on some things, you might not have it in this kind of art. You may have an abstract interpretation from the artist, Mr. Fred, rather than an exact likeness. All right, some more comments about art. Hello, Clayton, Audrey Shannon, Carrot Allen, so many more. If you have a question, please put it into the comments. I have more to say about art, and then you're going to hear my take on the statue, my perspective. And I promise you, if you have read it somewhere or heard someone say it, you're welcome to tell me. But I'm going to bet you that you've not heard it. And I'm going to tell you how I got this perspective, how I got it, where I was, and how it came into my head. Okay. All right, let's talk about art a little bit more. The bigger picture. Bigger picture. The goal in the bigger picture of art is not to please everyone, but to add to cultural identity. That's what this statue has done. It's not going to please everyone, just like any other statue's not going to please anyone. Impersonators. Oh, I like them. Oh, I don't like them. Oh, that impersonator, they look better and closer to this one than the other one. It's the same thing. Okay? The goal is not to please everyone, but to add to cultural identity. Viewing conditions. Viewing conditions. Say it with me. I've been doing some research, and artists that sculpt may be considering viewing conditions. What do you mean? The sculptor designed the statue to be viewed more from a distance or an angle. Have you considered that? The statue is to be viewed from a distance in totality rather than just to be viewed in its little parts. If you step away and look at it, it's very easily recognizable under those viewing conditions that is one interpretation of the Tina Turner. No doubt. Exaggeration. Exaggeration. Artists sometimes downplay certain features to make a statement. Artists sometimes downplay or don't emphasize as much certain features to make a statement. You're going to hear what I think that statement is in just a minute. Overall mood, recognizable likeness, stage presence. This was done as a posthumously. Y'all not going to give me any questions? Come on, guys. I know you want to hit me with a question or a comment. Totality. Say it with me. I'm not trying to sway you. I'm giving you my heart. Totality. What do you mean, Keith? As a whole and not just a part. The totality of the statue as a whole is beautiful. It's a representation of Mr. Fred. It's on the track for tourism, economic development. Even I can be improved. You can be improved. Okay? But it's the way we say it or communicate it. It's not that we have to be ugly about it and not give anything positive to those making efforts to promote tourism. You're hurting, some of you hurt your own town. You hurt your own town and your own ability to rise from some things because you down so many things that people are doing and won't get behind them. Bigger than life. This statue was made to be bigger than life. It's 7 foot tall. She wasn't, 5 feet around? She wasn't that. So it's not realism. It was made to be bigger than life because she was bigger than life. She was bigger than life. So the conveying of some things bigger, including the hair, and we'll get to that in a minute, is bigger than life. Big hair, lion's mane. Now this is what Mr. Fred told us. He designed the hair to be in the form of a lion's mane. Think of that. And think of what I've told you about art. Thank you, Leanne Cole. I don't have a problem with the statue. I think it's beautiful. Yes, I agree. Now, what I'm trying to say is, if you think about bigger than life, and Fred wanted, the sculptor, Fred, and I can't say his last name correctly right now, he wanted bigger than life. That's obvious. It's 7 feet. He wanted big hair, and he stated a lion's mane. So he put a lion's mane type hair on top of her to mean what? The lion is the greatest animal in the jungle. It's the king of the jungle. Queen Tina was given the name Queen Sheena, or given the name Sheena of the jungle by Ike. So you have Miss Tina, bigger than life, with the lion's mane. And nobody said it had to be exactly what she had in real life when you were doing art. Okay? If you wanted to look exactly, go get a picture and put it up there maybe. And laminate it. And then somebody's still not going to be completely on board. It's one interpretation. Find what's good about it and get behind the idea of tourism. And quit downing the first black woman in Haywood County, or black person, African American person, to ever have a statue put up in their honor. People should be proud. Woo! Okay. Big hair. All right. Warrior. Overcomer. Big breath. Now you're going to get to hear this perspective. Let me get me a drink of tea. Thank y'all for being here. Questions? Questions? Some of you missed some of this. I know you're coming in, but if you'll go back, and I'm just wanting you to open up your mind. I want you to think. You don't have to agree with me. I want to pop these ideas in there, and I want to see if you get a different take. You ready? Are you ready? Here we go. I'm going to give you my perspective of what this all is. The other night, I was sitting in my reclining chair, and you know how you sit somewhere and a thought will just come. It'll just come. You didn't intend for it to come. It dropped into my head. It just dropped in my head what I'm getting ready to tell you. And I'm not seeing it anywhere. Perspective of this statute. Reincarnation. Reincarnation. Keith, why are you talking about reincarnation? It's relevant. Now, let me be clear. I don't believe in reincarnation, but Tina did. I'm not of the same Christian faith. I'm of the Christian faith. I'm not Buddhist, but I'm not here to knock any of that. That's not my purpose. But I'm mentioning reincarnation because it's going to play into my perspective. And you have not seen reincarnation, I don't think, on anybody's comments that you've read all around the world about how that could play into this. I'm a new pair of eyes every time I am born. An original mind because I just died. I'm a new pair of eyes every time I am born. I might have been Queen, the first cut on Private Dancer. How that plays into this. All right. So what my take on the statute is, Tina Turner returned to Brownsville, not physically. Don't think I flew the coop. Okay. This is a return of Tina Turner to the town of Brownsville in Haywood County for the first time in 69 to 70 years. She never came back that we know. She might have, but officially. You say, how'd you get that number, Key? All right, she died at 83. 2 years later, they did the statute. That's 85. Minus 16 when she left Carver. Rounded up. 69 to 70 years. And Tina is coming to Brownsville, and she's going to be a statue. And nobody knows what it looks like that's there. So we have the return of Tina to Brownsville for the first time. And she's going to look back for the first time. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Daryl. She's going to look back for the first time through the form of a statue. I found beauty in this. I found beauty. She's looking back for the first time, so expect a few new little twists. Expect a few new little twists, like bigger than life, like lion's mane hair, like a different expression or a similar expression created on the face to portray all that I'm talking about. Here's Tina returning to Brownsville. How's she going to look? She believed in reincarnation. She believed in coming back, but not. I'm not saying this happened physically, okay? And you don't have to agree with it. It's my perspective. All right? She's looking back. She believed in reincarnation. I might have been Queen. Went over that. I see beauty. Hair the lion's mane. I'm reading my notes. Okay, it's big. Okay, it's a little different, maybe. What's wrong with it being a little different if you think the hair is not exactly what she wore, if you think that? What's wrong with that? She had big hair and quite similar straight hair in many occasions. If you look back in the 80s, she had spiked hair and all of that. But it wasn't about making it look realistic as much as it was giving her the lion's mane hair, like he said, to show the strength. To show the strength. So the statue doesn't always have to be exactness and realism. It can also portray other meanings. The face, she's looking back in amazement. She's looking in shock. She's pleased. She says, see what I did? You can do it too. As she looks at Carver. I know you haven't heard this perspective or read it on social media anywhere, that this is dealing with maybe these things that I'm saying. This is how I take the statue. She's saying, I've got my microphone. Look, Carver, look at me. And her eyes are raised a little, and she's looking in amazement because for the first time in 69 to 70 years, even in the form of a statue, the artist wants to convey Queen Heptitude, like she talked about in her articles, Jimmy. The artist wants to convey, here is Tina back in Brownsville. What's she going to look like when she's looking at Carver? A little amazement. I wrote that down. A little shock. Pleased. See what I can do. She had that look. Now, realistically, she had that look. I'm quite sure she had that look in all of her many beautiful poses. You can't tell me that somewhere down the line, she didn't have a pose and grimace, as many grimaces and things that she made. So the face is, I've been over that. You don't have to like it, but we're looking at totality of the statue. I like it all. I like the whole statue. The artist may have meant it to be this way. Who said the look on her face could not be new somewhat? That's everything I wrote down. You want to recap? All right, my perspective. Tell me, you have you heard it anywhere else? You read it anywhere else? All I read is negative. Maybe the artist was trying to say, here comes Tina returning to Brownsville, which she did in the form of a statue. And it's going to be bigger than life, which it is, 7 foot tall. Her hair is going to be that of a lion's mane, which is quite very similar to the shape of her hair. Okay, she had all kinds of shapes for her hair. If y'all are going to down all that stuff and not support tourism because of that, that's a little bit too far out there. That's just too far. All you're doing is hurting your community. You're putting down her. You're putting down the people that support it. And, what it's really going to do, it's going to draw tourism because of all of the publicity. So, some of you could just keep at it and you're just adding to it. Keith, isn't that crazy? And I felt like I had to get on here tonight and say all of this. When I look at that statue, there's no doubt that it's Tina Turner. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Legs, all of it. Dress was 80s. Necklace. Legs, shoes. Dress, hair, big. Lion's mane by the sculptor on purpose. Facial expression. I'm sure she did that somewhere along the line. It might not have been her most popular look, but it doesn't have to be. It's art. She's looking back. So I think what happened is she's looking back a different way. She's looking back a different way. Have you read that anywhere? Have you read anybody say that? Have you had anybody tell you about reincarnation and the fact that she believed in that? And I'm not saying that she believes she'd be back in the form of a statue. I'm saying if you tie it all together, the perspective is different. I'm going to remain open and see if we have any questions. I'll play it back. I went by my note. I'm going to just kind of sit here to see if there's anything else that hits me that I feel I need to say. I had to get this out. Wow. We look at the statute, and some of us, all we can do is just talk about what it looks like. It doesn't, some people, but without considering these other perspectives and things that I've mentioned. Okay. And you know what? I may just keep going a few more minutes and re-emphasize some of the things I've said. The purpose of the live, Tina Turner statute perspective from me. Talked about that. I've commended everyone involved. We've talked about opinions. If we look up in the sky, some people will have an opinion, of course, about I see Jesus in the sky, and the next person may say, I don't see him. And you sit there and say, why can't you see him? You don't see him? No, we don't always see everything the same, of course. That's the point I'm making. I read so many comments, what they've said about different aspects of it, and as an excuse. And all they're doing is hurting the tourism efforts that the county and the town are trying to do. Okay? Negative hurts the town and community efforts. Many people, and I'm not trying to talk about you, that are doing this commenting have never been to a Tina Turner museum, and they live right there in town. But you can't go see the Tina Turner museum and say something positive, but you can get on the internet and be a keyboard warrior and downgrade a statue. You can't go to Heritage Days or get on the internet and say something positive about Heritage Days, but you get on there and say something negative about a statue. You won't go see her in concert. You really don't know a lot about Tina. You just maybe saw a picture or heard something. You're not, and that's okay. I'm not saying you have to be. But the concern is all these people doing this, they don't have the depth of knowledge and perspective that I have because they hadn't been involved like I have. Benefit of the doubt. If you went to see the statue with a positive outlook, you would have said, I'm going to see the statue. But if you just stayed away thinking, I'm not going out there because after I see it, I'm going to be ready on my keyboard. And I think that's what a lot of people did. You didn't give them the benefit of the doubt to say, let me go see for myself what it looks like. This is Tina Turner from Haywood County. You don't want to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, hey, I'm going to go see the great statue. Then when it's revealed, we're on the internet, blasting all these things all over the place. Almost like, I can't wait to get to the internet so I can type, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like this, and never say anything about what you like. When the town is one of the county is economically trying to gain. Okay? And please don't get into with me about what Tina ever felt about Brownsville and all this old crap about she didn't care about us and never done our thing for us and all this. Please don't get me on that because that wasn't what this is supposed to be about tonight. Okay? Benefit of the doubt. Like I said, where's your support? Where's your support and positive comments? No. Do you see Jesus in the sky? Yeah, I see him. No, I don't see him. Why don't you see him? What's wrong with you? You must be blind. There's a better way to say that. In art, we don't always see the same thing. I realize why you can't see what I'm seeing. It also has to do with the way we talk and the way we express ourselves. You know, you heard the old saying, if you can't find anything nice to say, don't say anything at all sometimes. At least get some positive. The loudest ones, and I didn't mean to get on this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Reading some of these comments. Why they do our girl like that? This couldn't have been a black person that did this. Well, I wasn't going to put anything because I wasn't going to go back and forth. But that just shows some of the ignorance that people don't have the knowledge of before they open their mouth and type. It was a black man. It was a Nigerian man that did it. It doesn't, it's just stupidity. There's a lot of ignorance. Art. I didn't talk with Fred. I don't know his complete purpose, but I know art is subjective. What one loves, one don't like. Some art's abstract. It's three-dimensional art. We can see all the way around it. You can see all the way around this statue. If you're not there and you're not walking all the way around it, you really can't see some of the beauty of it. And you can see it in pictures too, but if you're there, you can really get the totality of it, the overall effect. Yeah, I'm going back. Yeah, I'm going back. I'm being redundant. Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing that. Hey, Sean. Yeah, I'm doing that. Abstract art emphasizes shapes, forms, rather than traditional art. I better plug my charger in, y'all. Hold on. Hey, Sean. I don't know how that's going to stand up now. I may have to hold it with my hand. Thank you, Dana. Thank you, Dana. You're welcome. All right, y'all see? Okay, now. What am I doing now? I feel like I got to keep going. Okay? You're going to hear some redundancy. I love the statue, Sean. It's beautiful. I've read comments from all over the place where it's like, I would say, estimate 80 to 20, 20 being positive. All right, let me go back to what I'm saying about art. Then I'm going to give y'all my perspective. Some of you heard it a few minutes ago. Art emphasizes abstract art, shapes, forms, rather than traditional art. So he's emphasizing shapes, forms, rather than just traditional art. Like putting a picture up there that's laminated that looked exactly like the person. If that's what you want, go cut it out, laminate it, put it up there. And then people still ain't going to like the one you picked. Art is point of view. Sculpting is not like a pick. It's molded. That can present challenges, I'm quite sure, to mold something and get it just right. And I'm not an artist. I'm telling you what I feel. Look at the statue as a whole, not as parts. Look at it as a whole. Okay? Landmark is connected to. People feel connected to this landmark. They feel connection. It's portraying a message rather than purely realism. This statue is portraying a message that's just pure, rather than just pure realism. In other words, just something that's exactly a replica in this artist's interpretation. Exactness could be many looks. If you want exactness, there are many different looks that could be given. Reasons not exact likeness, certain features are symbolic rather than literal to convey intent. Certain features are symbolic, like the lion's mane. Fred, the sculptor, made the hair in the shape of a lion's mane, bigger than life. Intentional. Who said it had to be exact? Replica of any particular exact style. Okay? Thank you for your perspective, Sheila Hill Petrie. You give much food for thought. I'm proud of Brownsville for taking such a momentous step. Never thought I would see it in my lifetime. Thank you for always being an advocate for Tina. You're welcome, Sheila. I remember you from high school. Good to hear from you. And, you know, let me get on back here where I was. Likeness. Okay. Certain features are symbolic. The lion's mane hair. I'm not going to get into what people have said about hair. I've read it. Who said it had to be exact? It's an art. It's art. The artist, the sculptor wanted to convey lion's mane hair. Okay? Why? The lion's the greatest king in the jungle. She was named Sheena, queen of the jungle, by Ike. So she's back in the form of a lion's mane to convey that strength And Don McFarland wants me to tell y'all about the time we got close to Tina in Knoxville, Tennessee. Hold on, and I'll do that, Don, after I finish talking about art. Okay? Bigger picture. The goal is not to please everyone, but to add to the cultural identity. This beautiful statue is definitely added to the cultural identity of Brownsville and Haywood County by the development of this park centered around this piece. Viewing conditions. Did you ever consider that the sculptor designed this to be viewed from an angle or a distance? His main intent was not close-upness, which you can do, but if you step back from it, like I would drive my car by, you step back, there is no doubt about it, that ain't Whitney Houston. That ain't Patti LaBelle. That ain't Taylor Swift. That ain't Reba McEntire. You know immediately that that is Tina Turner. That's the central viewing condition. Exaggeration. Artists sometimes downplay certain features to make a statement. So if I'm going to make a statue, I might downplay the hair as critical. I might downplay the face some with a new twist so that it can be exaggerated, bigger than life, big hair, a new look on the face, a new somewhat look on the face. Okay? That look has been there before because I'm sure she's had that look somewhere before. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Keith. Keep doing what you do to keep Tina's legend alive. Well, I will as long as I'm here. All right, let me get through telling y'all about art. Then I'm going to talk about Knoxville, and I'm going to go back over my perspective on the statue that I promise you've not heard it or read it anywhere. I've not seen anybody with my perspective, and I'm not bragging, but I got it, okay? Overall mood, recognizable likeness, stage presence has been conveyed, done posthumously. Totality, as a whole, not just part. Come look for yourself as a whole. Don't just look at parts. Look at it as a whole piece of art. Bigger than life, 7 feet or greater. It was made for that. That wasn't realistic. She really wasn't 7 feet. All right, so nobody's complaining about that. Nobody's being positive about it was made bigger than life. Hooray. She was bigger than life. She was bigger than life, so, there you have it. Her hair was bigger because the statue was bigger, and it's a lion's mane to convey the fact, here I am back, Brownsville, I'm a warrior, I've overcome everything, I'm strong, I'm a persevere, I overcome, I go all the way. You can do it too. Look at my strength. That's what the statue symbolizes. Strength. Okay? Maybe the artist wanted to convey that. All right, now, before I go into my perspective, finally, one more time and close, I want to tell y'all about the trip to Knoxville in 2000. All right, in 2000, I had seen Tina Turner a couple of times. It was a Sunday, and I didn't have tickets. A friend of mine named Don McFarland, who lived in Jackson area, I called him up and I said, Tina's going to be in Knoxville tonight. It was Sunday morning. Do you want to go? And we went. We got in the car and I picked him up. We started driving, lots of construction up there. And we got on up to Knoxville, got to the box office, and he had on his security uniform because he was a security guard somewhere else. So he looked like security. This is a true story. Got the tickets, which were on the nosebleeds. But when we went in, the security was kind of lax, so we kept walking. And because he had on a security outfit, we wound up on the very front row on the left side of the stage and got to stay. The amazing part, that was really the closest I'd been, that and in New York, to Tina, physically. But she came over to the side of the stage while she was singing "When the Heartache Is Over," and eyed us and eyed me, and I was singing the lyrics because I'm one of them diehard fans that knew every word to "When the Heartache Is Over, I know I won't be missing you. Dun, dun, dun. Won't look over my shoulder. 'Cause I know that I can live without you." And she was feeding off of me, I feel like, and him too. I was feeding off of her. She was enjoying it, but it was direct eye contact. When it was over, she went behind the stage, and we could see her going behind under the stage and being pulled by an arm of a security officer. And we yelled out to her, "Tina, we love you in that bush." And she kind of moved over like she wanted to come toward us, and they jerked her away. So that's the story of that Dom wanted me to tell about. I'm sorry for this shaky camera, y'all, but my cord is on. I don't want to mess it up anymore. I'm holding it just like that. Okay, so my perspective of the statute one more time, and I'm going to let y'all go unless you have more questions. I'll stay with you if you have more questions. I was sitting on the couch 2 or 3 nights ago, on my recliner rather, and it dropped into my head what I think this statute means. And I have not read it or seen it anywhere in the media or on any comments. It is Tina Turner's return to Brownsville. She is returning, and you must keep in mind, and I'll say it again, that Tina was a Buddhist and she believes in reincarnation. I have said that I'm not either. I'm a Christian, but I'm not also knocking that, and I'm also going to say that to say this is behind the meaning of it. I believe it has something to do with coming back to Brownsville. The artist is conveying that as well. Not physically, but in the form of a statue. I'm not saying that Tina come back in the form of a statue on her own. Okay? She believed that you would come back, probably physically. But she come back to Brownsville in the form of a statue for the first time in 69 to 70 years. She died at 83. So 85 would be about how old she is now, minus 16 when she left Carver. So here comes Tina Turner to Heritage Park in the form of a statue, September 27th. She's coming to Heritage Park in the form of a statue, and no one there has seen it, but just a few. We don't know what it's going to look like, but we're going to be positive. We're going to go out there and we're going to be ready to see this great work of art. And guess what? They pull it off. She's looking back at Carver. Maybe the artist has her look in a different way somewhat, or a special way. Have you thought about it? Who said it had to be just an exact look of pleasing, a pleasing look that's very, very similar? Maybe she's looking back this way. She's looking back in amazement. Because she's looking back at Carver at the first time. Maybe that's the meaning of the statue. Looking back in amazement. Looking back in somewhat shocked. Pleased to look back at Carver. There's a smile. Okay? Before we even talk about what kind it is or anything, maybe the newness of some of it is part of the goal of the art. See what I did, Carver? I made it. Hey, I see you, for the first time in 69, 70 years in this form. I think that's part of the art. I think that's part of the conveying of the art. I believe in, I see beauty. I see beauty in the hair and the lion's mane, the bigness, and maybe a little different look. I would expect that. If you're going to look back over there, I want something catchy. Okay? And I'm sure, like I said, she had a look like that somewhere in her career. As many appearances as she made and grimaces and looks and poses, I'm sure she had that. And it looks beautiful. And the whole thing is beautiful. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And you're welcome to, feel differently. But being so negative is hurting the community's efforts in tourism. I see beauty in the hair and the lion's mane. The lion's mane represents strength. They wanted the hair to be big. He wanted the hair to be bigger. He wanted her to be bigger than life because what she had to go through and overcome was bigger than life. Have you thought about it? So when she stands up there 7 foot tall, that's not realistic. Nobody was complaining about that. Nobody was complaining about the size of it and thinking, Tina didn't look like that. She's too big. It's a art. It's a message. Have you thought about it? She's looking back in amazement to Carver, and she's pointing as if to say to me, hey, look at me. I made it. I'm so glad to see you again. I'm here forever, and I made it. I can do it. You can do it too. You can do it too. I'm here. I made it home. Have you thought about it? Have you considered this perspective? I like it all. The artist may have meant it this way. Who said the look on the face could not be somewhat different or somewhat new? A statue doesn't have to be exact, especially when it's a sculpture. An interpretation of the artist is subjective. So I believe that the perspective of this statue, from my perspective, that this is the representation of the statue is Tina Turner coming home to Brownsville for the first time in 69 to 70 years in the form of a statue. And the look at Carver is one of many different descriptions. Okay? And who said it had to be all so realistic when art is abstract? So I'm going to remain here just a minute. Let me take this back off the charger. I've rambled some because I get emotional about some of this because I've been vested in this for 41 years. And since I've still got viewers, can I take you back? Can I take you back to 1984? Just briefly? I will. When I was a child, I wanted to be a radio disc jockey. That's all I ever wanted to be. I got a scholarship to play in the Memphis State Band. I went off to Memphis State University, but I turned the scholarship down because the man at the radio station in Brownsville called me and asked me that I want to get hired to be at the radio station. So I had to turn down my band scholarship. And I'd been in band since 5th grade for 7 years. So I got to Memphis State. I had a car that I believe my mother gave me, and I was riding around in the car, 1984, just beginning to be a DJ on Brownsville radio, meaning I would drive home on the weekends to be on Brownsville radio. And so they were playing on K97, Let Me Say This Is, Baby. I didn't know who that was. At the end of the song, the announcer said, that's Tina Turner from Brownsville, Tennessee with Let's Stay Together. I thought, wait a minute. Did he just say somebody was famous from Brownsville, Tennessee? Then my mind went back to when I was 16, when I lived in Haywood County and I was a rabies control officer, checking on dogs and cat vaccinations in the summer. We went in a house in Nutbush. It was Mr. Joe Melvin Curry, her first cousin's house. We walked in. I said, sir, do you have your vaccination papers? So forth. I was only 16. And there was a lady sitting on the table in a picture. And I said, who is that lady? She had long, flowing black hair and high cheekbones and beautiful. I said, who is that lady? That's my first cousin, Tina Turner. Well, it didn't hit me at 16. I didn't know. 18, when I heard that song in Memphis, Let's Stay Together, driving around on Memphis State campus, and I was a DJ, I said, bingo, I get to play that. I get to go to Brownsville. I get to go buy, I had to buy my own music. So I went to, in Memphis, I went and bought Private Dancer album. Took it back to Brownsville. Friday night, Saturday night. I can play anything I want to. I don't have a playlist. I can play What's Love Got to Do With It, Might Have Been Queen, the whole album. So I put it up there. I dropped that needle. And I said to the town, this is Tina Turner, 1984. And the phone would ring. And some people liked it and some people didn't. You know, I was getting messages in this ear, messages in that ear. Why don't you play this? You're playing too much of that. And some things I ain't gonna repeat. Okay? So I took that kind of personal, and I said to myself, I will go to see if I see a sign up in this town that said Tina Turner, because we got a star on our hands. I drove around looking at Nutbush anywhere, and I saw there was nothing up saying about Tina Turner. And I said, that's wrong. That's wrong. And I felt a strong, compelling, strong calling to keep pursuing. And as I would listen to her music through the 80s, I'm going to break every rule and more. I would feed off of that to keep going, to keep promoting, to keep pushing. And because she was pushing and it pushed, it gave me impetus to push and push and push and push. And sometimes it seemed like, well, he's lost it, he's obsessed, whatever you want to call it. Sometimes you have to be like a bull and push. All right, so that's what I did through the 80s. My story started getting out all over the place in the media about this DJ in Brownsville trying to honor Tina Turner. This DJ in Brownsville, it's got vision for this for Tina Turner, vision for that for Tina Turner. I was on the Haywood County Chamber of Commerce Tourism Committee. I would go to their meetings with a sign on a piece of paper. Welcome to Haywood County, home of Tina Turner, with a big circle. And around it I have Alex Haley, Delta Dawn, Cotton, and many other things. And it would always come back to, we can't do that without her permission. Come back to next meeting. Well, it was more like, we're not ready to do anything. But in 1993, 9 years later, after all this pushing, I met a lady in Brownsville that had a business called Nutbush Heritage Productions, Sharon Doyle Norris. And she owned property in Nutbush. But we met up. We went out to Nutbush behind the store. We cleaned out an old school that's since been burned down. And we produced and put on festivals outside. It was the first time that Tina, I see that Don, hey, Alicia and Katie and Jared. And yes, Don, I will talk about that in just a minute. Thank you, Don. All right, so we put on festivals in the 90s. 1993, the Haywood County Sheriff's Department was out on Highway 19 to direct traffic. There's about 500 people flooded Nutbush for our festival. First time that Tina Turner had ever been honored in Haywood County. We did it in 94, 95, 97, 98, and 2002. Festivals outdoors. I sent the PSAs to the radio stations. Sharon funded it. We all worked together. We honored Tina in the 90s. 1999, and a lot of you don't know this, we had a ceremony in Brownsville down from where the Olympic Steakhouse is. There's a building next to it. Jimmy Stevenson was director of Southwest Tourism Agency. We had a ceremony to put a display on the interstate. That display it's at the Heritage Center now. But in 1999, at this time, there was no Heritage Center yet. There was no West Tennessee Delta Heritage Center. So Sharon and I put together a display in a glass case, a 45 of Nutbush, and a white picture of her in a white, that white thing she wore in the 80s. What's Love? We had a ceremony in Brownsville. It went on the interstate between Jackson and Brownsville in the rest stop, which was called Music Highway, still Music Highway. And it hung there. And I dare say it's the very first display that ever hung up in Haywood County in honor of Tina. When the Western Sizzlin' closed, which is what the West Tennessee Delta Heritage Center is, it was a Western Sizzlin' restaurant. And it became the West Tennessee Delta Heritage Center. The display that Sharon and I put on the interstate at the rest stop was moved to the West Tennessee Delta Heritage Center. All right, so after that, I kind of sat back through the years 2000, 2005, 2010. Lo and behold, 2012. 2012, let's count them. 84, 94, 94, that's 10 years. 2004, 2014, minus 2, 28 years from when I first had the vision about Tina and first started playing her music in Brownsville radio and first telling everybody about Tina that didn't know. 28 years, the city of Brownsville moves the school, which is great. They moved the school from Flag Grove site to West Tennessee Delta Heritage Center. Then the ball gets rolling for fundraising. Wonderful. 2014, Tina Turner Museum. Wonderful. Tina Turner Heritage Days. Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. These are shoulders. Okay. This is a foundation. Here's the top. If I drop the foundation, the whole thing falls in. I think you get what I'm saying. It is what it is. Okay? You give a totality of it all. It's the beauty of it all. It's more people involved in Tina Turner tourism. It's more people. Okay? It's more people. And these visions that I have, these visions that I've had since 84 are still in my head. And they're accessible to the right person that wants them. They're accessible. I'll be glad to share them. I've never been paid a dime. I don't want a dime. I didn't do it for money. I did all that I've done and do is strictly because I love Tina. I love what she represented in my life, what she meant in my life and means. I have been motivated and learned so much. And it's incredible. I've always felt a deep connection to Tina. I think meeting her would have been okay, but it's still not the same as, yes, you can be connected to people you've never met before, and you're not crazy. You can be inspired by people you've never met before, and you know that yourself. Some of you are inspired by a football player. Some of you are inspired by Dr. King. That's great. You've never met him. And people, you ain't never met her, Well, big deal. It's still inspired. I don't know where I was going, y'all. All right. Key to the city. Don McFarland wanted me to tell you about that. I presented Tina Turner. I'm going to tell you how. The key to the city of Brownsville in Haywood County. It was in 1993. Let me tell you the story. I went to Mayor Jimmy Hallbrook, the late Jimmy Hallbrook in Brownsville, and County Mayor, the late Franklin Smith, and through the Chamber of Commerce, somehow they wrote letters, which I have copies of. They're on my Facebook, photo albums. Brownsville gives Tina Turner the key to the city. They gave me a key, an actual key, official key. I took pictures of it sitting on my mama's couch on West Main Street. Still have them. What did I do with them? I went to Nashville to the concert, What's Love Got to Do, in 1993. At the time, I was a DJ on Kicks 96 in Jackson, Tennessee, and there was this Virgin record representative who had me a seat. He come out. He knew I had the key to the city. He came to my seat to get me and said, now we're going to go back where Tina is so you can present the key to the city of Brownsville and the letters. So I get back there, and who's standing there? Two of Tina's relatives, and they are not back there either. And I get told, give it to them, the two relatives, and they'll take it back to her. So I am told that she did get it. There was no response, but I do know that she got it, and I do know that there was such a thing as a key to the city of Brownsville, and I did give it through the ways I just told you. Woo! Folks, I got more stories than this. And if you've missed everything I've said, you don't have to agree with it, but you can go back and listen. And I'm here now to just sit a minute and see as you ponder what's been said, if you have any questions, comments, topics that I can address, questions about anything about Tina, this whole thing about the statue, my perspective or anything. Just gonna sit here and I could show y'all a little bit in my room. Oh, talk about New York, says Sean Val. Okay, look. I'll show y'all a little bit of my Tina room. Now that I'm retired, I can work on it more. But I'll turn the light off here and you can see some of my Tina room. Okay. Um, Now that I'm retired, I'll be able to, let me turn the light on. I'll be able to, all right, when you come in my Tina Turner room at my house, you'll see this sign. Just follow your dreams. They know the way. Then you'll see this picture of me with an exhibit in the 90s, 1993. Inside that little thing are exhibits to take out to Nutbush to that school that we had created on Tina to take them out there for the first festival. Then you go over here on this wall, and I'm not going to go through it all, but you'll see a wall of things here. This is maybe for another time. And this is an old bedroom that I took and I made it hashtag my Tina Turner room as a tribute to her and for the memories and for her influence in my life. And I've got a tub here of things. I constantly don't have the time, but now I do have the time that I'm retired. And I'll be working some more in here and sharing some more. I even have a turntable in here. There's a turntable. And I have music stereo. And this is my Tina Turner room. See those old VHS tapes down there? Okay. All right, so that's just a quick overview of my Tina Turner room. And those of you that have missed some shows in there, if you just go to hashtag my Tina Turner room, you'll catch some of the old things I did in here. So Sean Val wants me to talk about New York. And Sean, if you have anything specific you want me to talk about, I'll give drop it in there. I'll give a brief overview about it. In 2019, I went to New York for the first time. The Tina Turner musical was in New York, November 7th, 2019. I had tickets to go on November 8th, the second night. A friend of mine that I'd never met, fan friend of mine in New York, called me and said, "You'll never believe it, but I've got tickets for November 7th, the night that Tina was going to be there." Well, you can imagine how my heart fell in the floor. He said, "Did you want tickets?" I said, "Yes." That meant I'd get to go to New York and see her on the red carpet, opening night, November 7th, and then on November 8th. Got there, saw her getting out of the limousine, waved at her, we all screamed. Went to the first night that she was there, the only night she was there, which turned out to be the last time she was ever in the United States. And actually, she came here to say goodbye to her American fans. We really didn't know that at the time. She looked wonderful, but she had been sick and was sick. And, we didn't know it was the last time. But at the end of it, I was able to get on the front row of the mezzanine, and she was within 15 feet taking pictures with Gayle King and Oprah and all the media and everything. And we were snapping pictures there where we were and hollering, "We love you, Tina," and all of that. It was a great experience. It was the last time I saw Tina. And I was very privileged and blessed to have gotten to see her the last time she was in the United States. I almost got a chance to meet her, but not quite, and really don't want to elaborate on that at this time. So, Sean, if I missed something on New York, pop it in the comments there, brother. So it's good to hear from you. What did I do there? I had to give up my computer, y'all. I had a computer, but when I retired, I had to return my computer. So I'm on a phone, and I don't usually, I can do it, but sometimes I hit the wrong button. Hey, Brianna, I'm just naming some of y'all. I appreciate you. Alicia, Karen, Don. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate that comment. Sheila Hill, Miss Dana Barden, Sean Val, Miss Karen Allen, Don McFarland, Daryl Roper, Leanne Cole. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Miss Vicki Garrett, Miss Sandra Boyd. I may be missing some of you. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate your patience and being here with me. I know this has been long, and I've still got viewers. So, how was Heritage Day? Someone said. Well, I'm sure it was great. I didn't go to all of it. I'll tell you what I did do. And yes, Sean, I did meet Ollie briefly. Took a picture with Ollie. Real nice guy. Those of you that don't know Ollie, that is Tina's keyboardist in one of her tours. I actually got to take a picture with him and Furley Prado, who was one of the Flower Girls dancers in one of her tours. And that was great. It was really great. This year, all I did on the Heritage Days is I went to the statue unveiling at 10 a.m. Saturday morning. Then I took a trip out to the Heritage Center and went through the gift shop and bought me a T-shirt and a couple of magnets. They got magnets there now that have Tina Turner #1 on them. You put them on your car and cross your fingers nobody takes them off, okay? That's why I hadn't put them on my car, because I'm thinking, somebody may grab the magnet, but what the heck. After that, we went in the Tina Turner Museum, and Stephanie Lewis, thoughts on the statue. That's in the live earlier. If you missed it, I can give a summation of my perspective again in just a minute. How many of you did not get to hear my perspective? Because the main emphasis of this live, let me go back to my notes, because I spent an hour and a half making notes earlier. The main purpose of this live tonight was to tell you my perspective on Tina Turner's statue. Okay? I'm just, here I go again, y'all. Y'all with me tonight. I will be deleting comments later that are totally negative. I hadn't had any so far, and I said totally negative. Okay? No need to tell me what you disagree with, as this is simply to give my take. I just want to give my take. Good to have you here, Stephanie. Maybe you can go back and hear it, but I'm going to give my perspective again right quick for you, okay? Let me go back. Now, this is without anybody hearing what I had said about art. Here's my take on the statue. And I promise you, like I've told some of you, and I'm not bragging, but I have not seen this perspective anywhere else, online or on any social media page. How did I get this thought? Sitting in my recliner chair about 2 nights ago, reading the newspaper, talking on the phone, actually to a good friend, Don, and it just fell in my head, reincarnation. And from there, I started writing notes on the newspaper. And I thought, well, why are you writing this? I mean, why is it there? Well, I'm of the thought that when something just falls in your head, sometimes it's a God thing. Okay, I think there's a purpose. It just pops up. So I know that something does that. What happened? I jotted down notes on a newspaper, and I got to thinking, and this is what I come up with, and it's truly me. The statue is Tina Turner returning to Brownsville in the form of a statue. All right, keep in mind, I hadn't talked to the artist completely about his intent, all of it, and it could or could not be his perspective. But I'm telling you what Keith Gambill's perspective is. This is the way I look at it. Okay? She returned to Brownsville for the first time in 69 to 70 years. She would have been 85 this year. The last time she was in Brownsville, as we know it, officially, was 16 at Carver before she left for St. Louis. That's 69 to 70 years. Let's expect a conveying of something a little bit different in the statute. Let's expect a little bit of excitement because we might get a new, semi-new, somewhat new type of look some different places on our famous queen. What you talking about, Gamble? I'm talking about this. She's looking back at Carver for the first time that she's looking at Carver that we know of in 69 to 70 years. So maybe the artist wanted to show that feeling of what it's like to look back at your old school where you went, but you haven't seen it. And I know she's not alive. Y'all get where I'm coming from. It's art. She's looking back for the first time in 69 to 70 years. Don't you think if you were alive and look back at your school that you hadn't seen in 69 to 70 years, that you might have a little bit of a different look on your face and what some might be accustomed to? Regardless as to what we think about it. Regardless as to what we think about it. My perspective. She believed in reincarnation. She was a Buddhist. All right, and I've stated that I'm not a Buddhist and I'm a Christian. But I'm not knocking, I'm not going to get into that. Okay? I'm going to get into this. If you take into account that in Buddhism, reincarnation is something believed in, and that she believed in reincarnation. And if you know what reincarnation is, it means they believe you come back to this world in a different way physically. All right. What I'm perceiving from the statue is maybe the artist is saying she's come back, not physically, but I'm going to present her back in a statue, sculpted statue, and you're going to see a few little twists. Get ready. You're going to see beauty. Here's what you're going to see. Hair of a lion's mane. Mr. Fred, the sculptor, stated he intentionally put lion's mane type hair on her head. So those people that are looking for realism in everything in the art, Don said, Mr. Fred said he wished he could be Tina so he could create her. All right, so yeah, I understand that. That's a good point. So her hair is, it's lion's mane. It's bigger than life. She wasn't but 5 feet tall. So the statue's 7 feet. I didn't hear anybody complaining about she too big. That's art. The bigness is part of the conveying of the message. She was bigger than life, and she's bigger than life. She come out of nowhere and overcame all of that stuff. This is before we talk about this is the only black woman, man, African American in Haywood County to ever be put up in the form of a statue. They're making an effort to draw tourism. And it's going to be a lot of it now that it's up there, whatever we think. Get behind the effort to increase the pride in Haywood County, to increase the tourism. They're going to do a lot down there in that park. They're going to build more. There's going to be some development. Okay, there's going to be more tourism. I might not be here. I have visions for tourism in my head that maybe some people haven't even heard. And if I had the money, I'd be going to town. But if the right person wants to hear them, I've got them stored up here because they were dropped in my head in 1984. Just dropped in there, everything I saw it. Don't tell me you can't see a vision. God comes to you in your dreams. There were visions in the Bible. We want to get biblical about visions and dreaming. He drops things in your head. He gives you callings. They're not all the same. Come on, Keith, with perspective. Face, she's looking back in amazement. This is my perspective. In shock, because she's back. Pleased. She's pointing. See what I did? Eyes a little bit raised, maybe. See what I did? You can do it too. I overcame. I'm bigger than life. I'm the queen. I'm the queen. I did it. You can do it too. Hi, Carver. Encouragement. Bigger than life hair. Bigger than life body. bigger, huge. I am sure that in one of her poses throughout her life, that she looked many different ways. And we know that. Grimaces, stances, and all. All right? So the artist may have meant it this way. Who said the look on her face could not be somewhat a twist? Also, what she is, but a twist, because she's coming back. She came back in the form of a sculpted statue. Let's give her a different look. To some degree, not all. A little twist. It's beautiful. In summation, I love the statue. In summation, it's positive. In summation, I understand people have differences of opinions. That's fine. But I understand some of the criticisms are really hurting the efforts of tourism. And it's coming from some of the people that it shouldn't be coming from. Okay? And I'm getting a call. Let me send this person a message. All right. And I'll tell them I'll call them back later. But I'm getting ready to get off. I've really been over everything. I'll sit here just a minute, see if y'all have anything else. Though it's been long, I've been redundant, but I've given you my heart. I've given you my heart. Look at what something did with Cinti Olympic Park in Atlanta. Yeah, what Olympic Park in Atlanta became. You know, we could go into stuff like Superman in Metropolis, Illinois. He's everywhere. You know, go back to this. Jesus in the sky. Do you see Jesus up in the sky? Yeah, I see him. No, I don't see him. What's wrong with you? Your eyes, something wrong with your eyes? You can't see him? Interpretive. Art is interpretive. I just want to, some of these comments I've read, I'm glad I don't comment back because I ain't going back and forth. Some of these comments all over the world I've read, they have nothing positive to say. The museum has been out there. They don't say anything positive about it. They don't say anything positive about the town trying to have tourism. They want to downgrade everything about Tina. They want to talk about her and be negative. It ain't happening with me. I didn't plan on going here, but looks like I'm going. Looks like I'm going, don't it? You want to know? She ain't never done nothing for Haywood County. You's a lie. You is a lie. What you is a lie. When she was born, she did something for Haywood County. She put her name in the record. When she wrote a book, it referenced Haywood County. When she sung Nutbush all her life and documented it, that's promotion of Haywood County. Being from there is enough to do for Haywood County. The connection, the dots to connect is up to the community. Now, all these folk want somebody to give them money and do this and do that. I ain't going there. Moving away to Switzerland. I get so sick of that. She gave up her citizenship to the Switzerland. Yeah, what's wrong with that? She was smart. She knew that what she was doing with her career would require a vaster audience. She was an African-American woman who often sang rock songs. In America, at the time of the 80s, it was black music, soul music, and pop music. In other words, some of her music didn't fit. It was pigeonholed. It was different in Europe. She was smart. She went there to succeed in her career and keep it going in the States too. Maybe not at that level. She met a boyfriend. You do the same thing. She had the freedom to move wherever she wanted to. That still has nothing to do with her roots. And it's very shameful. And then this is before we get into me hearing stuff like, she married a white man. I heard that too. So what? Can't you find anything positive? God, many towns would kill to have a Tina Turner from their town. Can't you just be happy you got a superstar and a lady that overcame so much and get behind the program and quit criticizing and making comedy jokes about the cake and where the cake might have went to and funny little videos all over the place? That must have not been a black person that made that statue. Shows you they don't know what they're talking about. It was a Nigerian man, and so what? They're trying to say if a black person had made the statue, that it would be the way they want it to look. It's ignorance. Snap out of it. Yeah, they have an opinion. Express it. But why can't you say, I'm proud of the town for doing this. I'm proud she has a statue. Congratulations. Congratulations. I know that you wanted this. I know it means a lot to you. All right, suppose I got on somebody's page that had gone to vacation in Destin and come under there and said, I wish you hadn't wasted your money on going to Destin, putting your toes in the sand. Don't you know you could have put your toes in the sand in your backyard and pretended you was in Destin and saved your money? That's the same thing about the statue. That statue meant a lot to a lot of people. They wanted to see her honored. I'm one of them. And then people want to come all up under and never say, I know that means a lot to you. Congratulations. I didn't do it. It wasn't my project, but congratulations on getting to live to see that vision come true. Lord have mercy. These are just a few of my thoughts tonight. If you've missed all of this, you'll have to go back and start. And I guess I'm going to leave it up. And if the comments get to being too heavy, I'm just going to have to take them off because Keith is not going back and forth. Mm-mm. Not, if I do, I do. But currently I ain't, because you can't win some things. People going to think how they think. What else y'all got tonight? Hello. Thank you, Quack Duck. Appreciate you. Mr. Harden, thank you. Miss Sherry Himes. All right, last call. Before I say goodnight, questions, ideas. I promise you, the perspective I gave you tonight, I want you to tell me if you've heard it or read it anywhere. If you haven't, which I don't think you have, then I want you to tell me why you think I have that perspective. And what I'm going to tell you is, I think it was dropped in my head on purpose. And I think that if you'll think about it, it could be very true, some, if not all of what I said. Wow. Or else, why did I have all that perspective drop in my head? I certainly didn't just sit here and make it up that she believed in reincarnation and the fact that everything that I stated. Nikita, that's a good thing. Will they ever put a marker on the land where her home was in Brownsville? That's a part of my vision. If they would just, look, if they, and I mean some of the leaders, would just sit down with me, and I'm not the only one, and listen to some of what I got in my head, woo! Can I just go and tell y'all a little bit what's in my head? Who wants to hear it? What I see? I see signs in Brownsville, coming into Brownsville. Welcome to Brownsville, Haywood County, home of the Queen of Rock and Roll, Tina Turner. I see multiple signs, different places. I see Highway 19 having a theme park. I see a roller coaster in Nutbush somewhere called the Nutbush. roller coaster. I see a theme park. You know, Dolly has one, maybe not that big, but I see a little theme park. I've seen it since the mid 80s. I see the Nutbush grocery store fixed up, operating. I see Anime's Cafe. I see food in there. I see memorabilia, souvenirs, people stopping, taking pictures. What did Tina eat? I see markers all throughout Nutbush. When you go on a tour, you see exactly the home sites and everything. I see tour buses in Brownsville, across from the Heritage Center, taking people to Memphis, back to the Heritage Center, down to the statue, to Haley. People picking the tours they want. How are you going to do all of this sometimes when all you're going to do is pick apart an effort? It's bigger than just one thing. Don says the future could be concerts by other well-known music artists and a Tina Holy Graham show. Yes. Well, I'm going to say good night, y'all. I have really enjoyed it. And I'll leave it there for now. Let y'all know if I'll be back. I'll be checking out my comments. Thank you all so much for supporting everything I do and try to do. It comes strictly from my heart, and I love it. I appreciate all of you all for supporting my page and my fan club page that I operate. You're so nice, and let's keep her legacy living, and let's protect and guard some of these negative situations. I mean, like this ink pen. I don't like that color. That's a ugly. I could say, I'm glad I have an ink pen. Maybe next time I would get a blue ink pen. It's the way you say some things. Instead of, she don't care nothing about brown. Or she don't care nothing about brown. So she never came back home. Hello. Keep it real, Gamble. You're welcome, Quack Duck. All right. Thank you all. Love y'all. I'll be back around. Good night.